Hello, my dear ones. I'm always fun to come and talk with you, and I apologize that I haven't been doing these videos for a couple of weeks here. I've had level 2 class, and that was a lot of fun. You guys were really a lot of fun. You let me get a lot more spiritual than I have been able to in other classes, so I really like that. It's my favorite side of this. But we had a lot of fun, I thought. We are going to, I'm going to start doing 3-day seminars for iridology and protocols. You have to go to level 1 to get this, but these are going to be 3-dayers, and all we're going to do is protocols, and I want you to be able to look at an iris and write me a protocol on it. What would you do with this eye? So we're going to have a lot of that. It's just going to be a 3-day, and we'll do several of those through the years to get some of you guys up to speed in some more difficult cases, but you guys are just, you're unbelievable. When I say bones or veins, parathyroid, I mean, you guys are so good. You're learning about the pituitary connection sometimes to the thyroid. Instead of just always being thyroid problems, there can be pituitary problems. So you guys, I'm just real proud of you. I'm real proud of you, and I'm real proud of a lot of you who have taken yourself out of Hellville and brought your training into Wellville. You guys are really something else. I know I've said this before, but I want to try to set up a whole series of videos on specific issues. But in reality, you're beginning to see the common link between everything. And the common link between everything that man suffers with is 1, acidosis, and 2, genetic weaknesses. And of course, acidosis takes you right into your lymphatic system. So we try to teach you the lymphatic system like it's not taught on this planet ever before. And we've talked about lymphologists and that there are a society of lymphologists, but they don't go past the blood again. And these are lymphologists. You people have got to get with the lymph system and understand that that's the core system that deals with inflammation, that deals with everything. It's your sewer system / immune system / lipid carrier system / lubricating system / eyes, synovial fluid, knees. I mean, you've got these semi-lymphatic fluids all over the place. All lipid-based, all for protection and everything. It's just, when you look at the body simplistically, then you can see a lot of this. If you try to get too nano, you lose. You lose your concept of the whole, because the big deal is this, and this is how simple this all is. Man's suffering. And the reason for man's suffering is right in front of his face. It's right in front of your face. And it's the chemistry you've been eating, drinking, breathing, and what you've been putting on your skin. And for any true physician to ignore that for some ideology of diseases, mechanisms, and stupidity like that, shows a very unawareness level, and that's why we're here, and this is exactly why I'm infusing you guys, because we got to get out of this kind of crap and start looking at true healing. Chemistry is everything, but the neat thing about it is there's only 2 sides to it, so it's not difficult to learn for babies. I'm just saying. My 10-year-old grandson can tell you about acid and base more than some other people can. Amazing. You know, I had a guy at an appointment yesterday, and the appointment was really for his wife. He's been coming around here for a lot of years, but, you know, a lot of people just half-ass things. So he asked me about MMS, and, you know, his wife he gave it to his wife, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Because this is just the very reasons that I don't recommend any of these supplements, and particularly things like MMS. I mean, this is chlorine dioxide. It has a pH where bleach normally has a pH of about what? 12, 13, 14, somewhere up in there. This is a pH of 1.5 to 3. It's down at hydrochloric acid level. And the website claims it's an electron donor. meaning that it's base chemistry. That's not true at all. You look at all chemistry sites and you'll find that chlorine dioxide is an electron receiver. Anything where the electrons dominate the protons is base elements, or base atoms. Basically, you could say that, I guess. Anything which is that carries a negative charge, and nature favors base dominance and a negative charge. That is the dominant charge on this planet. The proton positive charges are your acidic charges. And so when an element comes around that has high protons and low electrons, that element is acidic. And the only way to bring that element into a neutralization is ionization. And ionization is where you're either giving or receiving electrons from other elements that have too many or that are base dominant. And all it is base and acid, the movement of duality. There's saturation issues, there's all kinds of issues out there. But there's also medium issues that biochemists don't even think about. There's so many things that biochemists don't think about, and so many people that ride on theories. And this MMS is ridiculous. Chlorine dioxide, that's some serious crap some people are putting inside of them. And I've got the FDA website, and I tell you, I agree totally with the FDA here. I'm only disagreeing with the FDA because they allow toxic chemicals to kill people. And they come on us for stuff that doesn't hurt anybody, and raw milks and stuff. They're caught in that stupidity of microbes and not understanding what the Ebola and all these are all about and who created them and who's playing with this field. Nobody talks about those deeper subjects of things. But this FDA says, FDA warns consumers of serious harm from drinking Miracle Mineral Solution, MMS. Product contains industrial strength bleach, and it's just what it is. It's corrosive as hell, and you can't take something like that when you have tumors in you, high inflammation. You shouldn't put anything like that in your body whatsoever. So it's just, people grabbing for straws, making claims and things that are ridiculous. You don't get well drinking bleach. I mean, this is insane kind of thinking, and I can see why the FDA is down on some of these things, because these are bad things. These are bad things, and when you're consuming acids like this that are corrosive, it just takes your cancers and everything else and can exacerbate them. There's a lot of testimonials here and there, but this is industrial strength bleach. Be very careful what the supplements you take. That's why I say you don't need supplements. Man doesn't need to extract. Man doesn't need to treat. His problem is right in front of him, and it's hand to mouth. Change that, as many of you have, and you get your health back. How interesting. And that's all it is. Now this sits on top of genetics. Yeah, and how do you develop genetic weaknesses in cells? Because fluids are not genetics, except for the lymph system. The lymph system fluid is genetic in the sense that when you're in your mother, you are hooked to her blood and lymph system. And if she's not filtering, and the baby's not going to filter, guess how the babies are coming in with cancer and atypical cells already out the chute. And that's because you have to realize that little one is living within the mama, and the mama's feeding that baby. And also the elimination of the waste from the baby has to go through her lymphatic system. And so most mothers' lymphatic systems are just like everybody else's, stagnant, not filtering, and therefore the baby has very serious problems, plus sitting on top of even weaker genetics. So now we have extreme seriousness. And unless all of us work together and get man's awareness up, it's a slaughterhouse when it comes to pharmaceuticals and everything else. It's a slaughterhouse. And you don't need that when it comes to wellness. Herbs are more than adequate. This same gentleman had his wife on all our herbs. But he'd been hitting her real hard. Now, I already consider a dropper full of any tincture to be the most aggressive dose on the planet, because I know Richard Schultz was in one of his videos was talking about 45 drops was what he considered very, very strong. And I'm thinking 120, and many of us can double that easy. So he'd been doubling some brain and nerves and things like that. She has that radius solaris going up and fairly deep radius solaris. These are deep toxic tunnels that radiate from the transverse colon in the eye up into the brain area. At a certain level, you can see them on an MRI or a CAT scan in particular as a brain lesion. And you'll see this a lot in MS and Lou Gehrig's and Parkinson's and stuff like this. Well, since January, her lesions in her eye there are almost, there's a couple of them gone. The pituitary one is a third the size. Amazing to see the power that herbs have to regenerate the cell. And yet, she had very little lymphatic changes, yet the cells were regenerating. I find that extraordinary. Extraordinary. Hello, I come to you because I am suffering from a kind of myopathy, muscle atrophy, but I have no genetic markers. I am 90% raw, except dinner in winter, or I consume soups, nothing industrial or rarely meat. And that's just about how I think you have to do it, really. When you're in the cold winter time, you got to warm yourself up. If you're into serious problems, you got to warm yourself up with blankets and heaters and things like that, not with foods. You could warm yourself up with some teas, like the Heal All tea. You could do some things like that. Now, let's stop before we go on further. What side of chemistry? Now, we talked there's only two sides of chemistry. There's acid and base. Okay, so acids are the corrosive side, as we know, and base is the healing side, basically. I mean, you can go to each side and make all kinds of claims, but basically, reality is a base-dominant food is a healthy food. An acid-based dominant food, an acid-dominant food is one that's corrosive on you and creates acidosis. And almost all foods are acid-dominant foods, except for your carbohydrates. Even a lot of your starches are acid formers, and that would be your grains in particular, except quinoa and millet, that sort of thing. But when you have atrophy of a muscle, or atrophy of any tissue meaning cells, anywhere in the body, which side of chemistry is doing it? That's all you have to ask yourself. I'm having pain. Which side of chemistry is doing it? All right? Now, your blood is base chemistry dominant. It's essential, 7.4 roughly. If your blood becomes on the acid side, you only have about 3 minutes to live. So you can see that acids are not real in harmony with the body. Now, think about this because we heard the word foreign a lot. Foreign chemistry, foreign protein, foreign. Foreign simply means out of harmony. So when something's foreign, like a protein is foreign, dairy proteins are foreign chemistry to the body. Even though we look at that as a food, it's a food for a specific vertebrae. And we don't fit into that class. So that's where man has gone wrong. But I can understand why in migration from tropics to more northern climates. That you just adapt to whatever. But a good example is this Bush People I was watching last night. I love that show. And it looks like the dad might have another heart attack and get off. Who knows? I don't know. It looked pretty scary with the next show. But there's a good example of high-protein diets. Look at the teeth. It's a good example of high-protein diets and what it does to you. Sucks the calcium right out you. Creates so much inflammation. The cholesterols go up. All kinds of stuff like that. I do not consume gluten or rarely bread, gluten-free. I do not consume dairy products except raw butter. I am very thin, and despite my efforts, I have trouble knowing what I need to do to repair muscle production. Maybe you could help me. I think Valerie helped me up here and your entire team, and Dr. Morris for thanks. Thank you for this. Well, can you connect the atrophy of your muscles, if that's what's going on, to malabsorption? Of course you can. And what system would be the connecting link? The lymph system. The lymphatic system is always the connecting link. You have two connecting links when it comes to fluids to everything, and that's blood and lymph. H2O is just the grand solvent of of this planet anyway. And so it is used in the body to help buffer. And of course, a lot of things chemistry can be broken down into H2O. Carbon dioxide can be broken down into water. So there are elements that can be, or compounds that can be broken down into H2O partly. But most of the edema that you see in people are a direct result of acidosis. And then the osmosis of water into tissue to try to, because it's a solvent, to break up this acidosis. The unfortunate part, when you have stagnation, you cannot bring in anything but base chemistry, because that would be foolish. And it's like this MMS. You can't bring an acid in an acid system. Not in, you might see some suppression at first where some symptoms can go away because that's what acids do. You see that in chemotherapy. But then the blowback. And the blowback can be devastating to that. So you're thin like this, and so what you need to do is dig deeper. It's important to understand that it's one thing to change your diet and start eating healthier. I get that, and to tell you you'll feel better, there's no question, and everything is good. Or is it? See, this is why I teach detoxification. And this is our new word, this is regenerative detoxification. And that's the level that we're talking about. Regular detoxification, this is regenerative detoxification. That means that the modus operandi of detoxification leads to the regeneration of tissue. Why? Because the acidosis is the problem, and that is a corrosive, deteriorating side of chemistry. Change that, and then you have the rebuilding side. To not believe in duality is to be fixed in your consciousness. Duality exists, so you have both sides at all times available to yourself. The problem is we play in the fields of dreams of duality. You, as soul, have nothing to do with the reality except it's your playground. And you can see how much of a playground it is. Quite immense in every way, shape, or form. So I submit to you, my friend, that you are probably very malabsorbed and therefore wasting away. If you have atrophy of anything, acidosis is always in the middle of that, and that is your kidneys, adrenals, and your lymphatic, which is the main part of your lymphatic system. It's the elimination side. The other side has lymph nodes and interstitial fluids and that sort of thing, and all the lymph vessels. So that's a system you got to get after, my friend, because nothing's static. So when you think, it's been that way for years, nothing is that way for years. There's always changes going on every second. NASA uses fractional seconds. Amazing stuff out there. But it's enough to say you want to get into your lymph system, meaning you got to work on your kidneys, your adrenals, get on some lymph formulas, get your GI tract cleaned out, that sort of thing. If you have anything else, the GI broom, you want to get your lymph filtering so you can clean your interstitial spaces in the wall of your small and large bowel, and at the same time in the muscles and everywhere else. Because when your lymph system backs up, it backs up everywhere. This is a systemic fluid. So when your kidneys are not filtering, you have the lymph backed up everywhere. So you see the inflammatory response wherever you see the genetic weaknesses first, because that's the main blowback, and then in other hot spots become, popping their little heads up everywhere. If you ever want to see that, get a thermography of your body and take a look at where all your hot spots are. That's where the bulk of your acids are building up. As a rule, you'll see them where your lymph nodes are and that sort of thing, especially if you have stagnation. But you want to go after that. So it's one thing just to change the diet and feel better, but if you want to fix something, you have to enter the world of regenerative detoxification for a little while and fix everything. And we've shown you how the process of fixing, and that's why I like the botanicals. We use botanicals, a lot of people use botanicals for diseases through the years. Medical doctors really set that up. The first medical book we said was 1852. The first pharmaceutical was aspirin, I think it was, from willow. That was in the later 1800s. But remember I told you that Marcy found a medical bag that had nothing but rolls of herbs and a little book to tell the medical doctor how to combine them for this and that. So botanical use is, we need to get back there for the pharmaceutical worlds. I mean, there are some pharmaceuticals that we absolutely need because of the level of surgeries and everything else that we need. But they can't create fatal events. You got to find something around that. So that's what you have to do, get in there and get this body of yours straightened around, my friend. Thanks for the thank you. All right. I bought your antifungal salve and use it for ringworm. Yeah, I had very slow or no progress and wonder if there is a better herbal combination that you make for this specific fungal problem. Well, yeah, you want to detoxify yourself in that way. You could just get some black walnut hull salve if you can find some, and put that on there. That's real strong, and go after that ringworm. But also, don't just use the salve. Go systemic, because you're probably loaded anyway with fungus, so go systemic, my dear, and go that way. But you might find some, and I'll take a look at that antifungal, see if I can boost it up a little bit. But when it's a topical thing, I'm okay with that. Internally, I don't want to kill bacteria. That's the wrong thing to do that. When you're talking about that MMS, they're talking about how a bacteria will give up one of its electrons. It's like, what? Yes, bacteria have molecular structures to them. Yes, 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 and yes, I guess an atom can give up one of it. But you don't want to kill bacteria in the human body, and anybody that thinks that doesn't understand sewage in the sewer system and the essential need of bacterium in the body. This one says, please talk about H. pylori. Okay. Well, the bottom line to that is culturing medium, culturing medium, culturing medium. When you're a meat eater, or you eat foods that are more putresctive in nature, you're going to expect the H. pylori and other more proteolytic type bacteriums, E. coli and things like this. This is all about having a culturing medium, or as one doc said, the terrain. There's a bacteria for everything. There's bacteria for iron, a bacteria for steel. There's a bacteria for everything out there, believe it or not. Because there's birth, life, and death on this planet, no matter what level of chemistry or what we're talking about in terms of compounds or structures or anything else. This is a birth, life, and death system. So you have to have something involved in that process from life to death, because this is a constant atom rearrangement. One has to remember here, creation is finished. You want to build a barn, you have to go out and get the products to do it. Well, if I want to make your products so you can build a barn, I have to go out in nature and find materials. Now, and a better example of this would be a woman that wants to have a baby. If she wants to have a baby, it requires atoms. Atoms are the building blocks, we could call that, at least at this level, building blocks of creation. So it's like Lego sets. You have different atoms form different types of elements or molecules, and you have your elements, and it goes on up into compounds and substances, and right on up into bigger and bigger structures. But down at the molecular structure, you have the atom, and then subatomic levels, you have the electrons and protons and some minor subatomic particles. Then you can go down into the nuclear and nano and subnanos, who knows how far you can go there. But you can detox all this out of the body. It's not just enough to take antiparasitics. I mean, when you're taking in worms, ringworm isn't really a worm, but it's like a fungal or a roundworm. But you got pins, hooks, tapes. You got all kinds of worms out there. You got thread worms. Matter of fact, I just had a bunch of thread worms I could show you. But these, you got to get those out of the body, no question. And my guess is some of you can probably do a lot deeper worm killers. And I do know that some people get kind of crazy, especially females, because females, as a rule, don't do well with worms. And I had a lady that went bonkers. we dewormed her, and she started seeing so much coming out. We weren't giving her enough, so she went and got some horse dewormer. And then she saw the thread worms coming out like crazy, and she went cuckoo. Had to put her away for a while. She couldn't handle it. So it's like, don't freak out. That's nature. And your physical body is just something you're using. So, worms come in, worms come out, that sort of thing. But you just deworm yourself. But then clean your terrain. Clean your body like you would clean your car. Got to do it. We burn fuel and we burn dirty fuel, so we get dirty residues built up. And so detoxification is how we rebuild our motors. When you go to a mechanic, he tears the engine apart and uses acid, strips everything, strips it clean, puts it back together. Or blueprints it and puts it back together. I had a friend that blueprinted his, what was he, a 454 Chevy. That thing was a screaming, man. For those guys that know what I'm talking about. Hello, Dr. Morse. My friend's symptoms are a variety of serious pain in her neurological systems. Wait a minute. UPS freight. That's a big truck. My friend's symptoms are a variety of serious pain in her neurological symptoms, but there are no nerve rings indicated. I don't want to confuse the issue, but she says she has Lyme. What are your thoughts? Mary. Hi, Mary. Well, you don't have to have nerve rings to have neurological problems. If you got a hold of some neurotoxins in life, and pesticides and herbicides are neurotoxins, so let's say you went out to eat a big salad, and Friday's is the only one I know of that uses a veggie wash, fit. All the restaurants just wash and spin them. But there might be some. You have to ask them, do you use veggie wash on your vegetables? But you could be sitting there, and I was once in Chili's. I was sitting there eating a big salad, and I started getting real short of breath. And I knew it had pesticides on it. I knew it did, because I already had been poisoned with a neurotoxin. So it was just, I was real sensitive at the time to that. All I can say is, you don't have to have nerve rings to have neurological problems. However, when you see nerve rings, that's a decay of the myelin sheath, so you really have nerve weaknesses and problems. But you could have, here's an example. You could have tremors coming off from the stomach. Remember, your stomach is your solar plexus area. That's your autonomic brain. Where your central nervous brain is here, your autonomic brain is right down here. So when you have inflammation or acidosis of the stomach tissue, you can have all kinds of neurological problems. So you have to always remember, guys, you have to clean up the GI tract along with everything else, because you're dealing with a neurological issue as well. And then, of course, you've got your adrenals and low neurotransmitters, so you got to go into your adrenal glands. So when you have a neurological problem and you have pain out of that, pain is a symptom of acidosis. So that's saying that you must go into your kidneys and your adrenal glands, where your steroids are and your neurotransmitters are, and repair these tissues, regenerate them, get your kidneys to filter, and you need the adrenals on board to have that take place, and maybe even the pituitary. I don't want to confuse you, but remember, the pituitary creates ACTH. Now, that's for the cortex of the adrenal, which is just steroids. But steroids affect sodium-potassium balances, which is how proper metabolism is effectual. It's how you create proper diffusion, is moving your sodium-potassium balances properly. There's so much to chemistry in the human body that you don't really need to know to fix people and to repair them. So don't let me get confusing to you whatsoever. Some of you will love more detailed information. Some, you don't need to worry about it, guys. As long as you know proper detoxification, it don't matter what you're looking at, who you're looking at, what their problem is, you can get them well from it, from just detoxification. Why? Because you're changing the cause of their problem, their consumption of chemistry. You've changed their diet. That's key. And then you're using herbs to go in and regenerate those tissues. Herbs weren't meant by the Creator for diseases. Man created the concept of diseases, so then why did the Creator create botanicals? Well, what's the body made of? Tissues, cells, groups of cells called tissues put into organs or glands. When you start looking at herbology, herbology is specifically for organs and glands. Because detoxification is totally a food-based thing. You can detox yourself just on your fruits and stuff. But to help regenerate and inspire more functions, the botanicals are just the blessings to be. So, Mary, if she has Lyme, what's it tell you? Remember, Lyme, lupus, fibromyalgia. You might as well throw them in the same pot. They're all the same thing. And why? They're all systemic acidosis. You can claim bacteria, which is ridiculous for Lyme. There's no such thing. People, that's a good sales job for you, because you know how many people load up with antibiotics with Lyme and never cure it with that? Look what they do to you to falsely treat something that they've made up. You know, not everybody's bit by a tick, guys. I mean, that's ridiculous. This is all systemic acidosis, and I see it every day as I do fibromyalgia, as I see lupus. It doesn't matter the factors in the body that's affected. It doesn't matter if you have a viral load or not. Everything is detoxable. And that's another thing. I was just thinking with that. I just tripped that Charlie Sheen thing. You know, this whole thing about HIV is such a doom and gloom. You know why it's a doom and gloom? Because the medical doctors are overseeing all this crap. And so they don't cure anything. So everything's doom and gloom. If you've got an HIV viral load, guys, detox it out. HIV and AIDS is just detoxable and regenerative like anything else. You know, any viral load is detoxable. These are just viruses or proteins. They can be detoxed out of the body. We do it every day here. Whether it's HIV, Hep C, it don't matter. So don't let these things be death sentence. You know, everybody's down this way, death sentence, and, you know, the basketball player, what's his name? Magic. You don't have to live with that stuff. You can fix yourselves. You know, this is the problem. Medical doctors, this is a very stagnant, a very troubled system. And we got to back away from that. It's in danger, and it's created danger. So back away. Things are very curable, everything. Not diseases. Nobody cures diseases because they don't exist. They're a fabrication of the medical mind. You want chemistry and physics. That's where real science is. At least before the theories start hitting. But Mary, this lady needs to get her lymph system moving. If she has neurological problems, what do you want to do? Adrenal glands because of neurotransmitters, but also brain and nerve. And if you want to get upper circulation to go up in here and maybe hit some central nervous system issues, I would do that. Take a look at her eyes. She doesn't have to have nerve rings. She could have pinching. She could have neurotoxins. She could have other factors involved there. Low minerals, maybe low magnesium or manganese or low calcium. It could be anything like those things. The pain, of course, is definitely coming from acidosis. And that you have to correct through detoxification. You can throw anti-inflammatories in there. Come on. Those are your, in pharmaceutical world, those are your killers, as your anti-inflammatories, your Imbrel, all those sort of things like that. Those are the killers. Bad stuff. And you know why? Because they suppress. See, when you suppress someone already in trouble lymphatically, that's how you kill them. You don't suppress acids and inflammation in the body. You clean and expectorate and get out. Hey, Nair. Subject. I have a request. Could you make a short video about menstruation? Yeah, I'll do one of those. I need to do one on each one of these things, don't I? I know I do. Inspired by you, I have started to detox and reading a lot about fasting. In one book, Arnold Ehret, Mucus Diet. I love that guy. I mean, these are nice books. They're cheap, reasonable, and I loved Arnold Ehret. When I read Arnold Ehret in 71 or 70, I knew he had bit on truth. And there was another fruitarian thinker out there that turned me from vegetarian thinking right into fruitarian thinking. And then right here I have, I don't have it right here in front of me, but I have a Dr. Jensen's Arnold Ehret Club card, 1929. O. Bernard was a member of the Arnold Ehret Club. It's a sad thing that Doc didn't get into the raw foods. That's the only problem with he didn't get into the raw like I did. You know, he got into what I did in the health food stores, whole grain products, raw milk cheeses, and things like that. No, I mean, you could argue a step above, I guess, but not really. It's all acid forming, mucus forming, everything else. He describes that women who follow the mucus diet eventually stop menstruating. On the site of the Natural Hygiene Group, I see that they warn against long-term vegan diets. One of the dangers they name is that women lose their menses. Could you please give us your take on this important issue? Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I already have on other videos. Definitely. But I know there's so many videos up, that's the problem. It's hard to view them all. Well, we've talked about this many times. And Arnold Laird's exactly right. And the natural hygienic people sometimes don't know their butt from a hole in the ground. No offense. Very rare of them love that group. Got my start from the natural hygienic people. But these are the people that think herbs are poisons and crap like this, and it's a big deal to stop menses. Give me that break. When you understand why does a woman have her monthly cycles in the first place? Why menstruation in the first place, ladies? Cleaning a house, right? It's house cleaning. And, of course, estrogen is acidic, so nothing like stripping things as acids because they're corrosive. So this is why you have bleeding. And what is it cleaning? What tissues is it cleaning? The uterus, right? Well, the uterus just happens to be a little house. And so every month you have a cleaning because there could be a little visitor in that house. And the clean house is always a good thing. The more toxic a woman is, the more odorous, the more clumps and humps and all these things in the blood. So as you detoxify, you clean the uterine wall, you clean the bowels, you get everything filtering. So now when your cells dump their waste interstitially, the lymph system takes it right off to the lymph nodes and kidneys and you're done with it. That's how it should work. So this is very true. Matter of fact, fruitarian women as a rule only spot. And if you have some spotting, perfect. Because if you're clean, why would you need to bleed? This isn't a curse. The curse on man is his decision to fire his foods and to eat foods that don't belong to his species. And when we decided to take on dead animal tissue and stuff, we developed hoof and mouth. Basically, because that's basically how we have hoof and mouth. We started feeding our herbivores dead animals. We started grounding up dead downs cattle, hogs. Now you can't give cattle, but you can still give cattle hog meat. What? These are herbivores. They're deeper, farther down the road than we are. You can't give a herbivore meat. Look what it does to us. Now with these studies from the World Health Organization are just a flip of all the studies through the years. We've known all this stuff 50 years ago. So why does it take so long for society and the medical community here to wake up to truth? They don't want to. They love where they're at. It's a good cash cow. So when you're in a good cash cow and you're not very spiritual, you don't change. You stay in that mind ride. So Arnold Laird's right on. And you know why he's right on? Because he sees it every time. And it's not that the diet's bad for you. Are you kidding me? It is that you're cleaner, ladies. And isn't that a blessing? And isn't that beautiful? That is beautiful. So the natural hygiene needs to grow up. That's why they're not very involved anymore. You need to grow up, natural hygiene, start understanding humans are frugivores, not herbivores. Those are horses, cows, elephants, things like that. So there needs to be a growth, and the natural hygienic hasn't grown much. I still have their PhD course in here. I'd love to finish it because they're a great course, and you have all the greats writing for it, so it's a great course. But there are some of their belief systems aren't true, and herbs are far from toxic. These are our little saviors, let me tell you. So, you have things like that, and you have to, all of you, especially you young guys, it's hard, but you have to disconcern some of the bull crap and the propaganda and see through some of these things, because that's you're going to have to. There's so much crap out there that it's tough. So this is a good thing for females. heavy menses and all this. The ladies that are not having their menses, though, you want to make sure that your pituitary and everything's healthy. I'm not talking about the ladies that are the raw foodists that have cleaned themselves. I'm talking about ladies now that have no periods, or their periods are every few months. That's a pituitary problem, and you want to fix that. Associated with your height, can be associated with a lot of things. So you want to take a look at that, and I hope I give enough education of how to look at your eyes here to look at the pituitary so you can see. Of course, that's going to also affect your TSHs, your PTHs, your FSHs, your all this, the hormones. And there's 9 that come out of the pituitary gland. So this is for a woman. The raw food diet is by far the most beautiful diet for females. It keeps you shapely, it keeps you toned and firmed, and it keeps your menses where it should be, rare and spotty, because your uterine wall and interstitial is clean. No more welding uteruses to bowels with endometriosis or anything like that. No more ovarian cysts, which is, when you start having ovarian cysts, ladies, that's your kidneys. You're starting to go lose your lymph system. And when you lose your lymph system, that's a problem. Notice when you see them most is when the estrogen starts coming up. That's an acid. Acid on top of acid. So MSM, acid on top of acid. Chemotherapy, acid on top of acid. That's not the chemistry that you want to learn. Chemistry is base acid. It's the duality, the ionization and oxidation, the movement of electrons, the movement of acid and base in its neutralization, because different bases have a different effect and acids have a different effect. When you want something mean and aggressive, you call on an acid, which is a big male. But if you want something sweet and healing and rebuilding, you call up a female. It's the way it is in chemistry. So yeah, honey, this is, you should see your menses going down, down, and down, and very little spotting, maybe a month, each month. And if you have some bleeding, okay. But it is a cleaning mechanism. You have to understand that. Bloodletting is how you clean. Blood is alkaline or base chemistry. It's just going back to understanding that when you're acidic in these tissues, base chemistry comes in and neutralizes. Just like you would eat, why you eat raw foods, why do you go up to fruits when you want to detoxify, and what are you detoxifying out of the body? I think these are important questions people need to ask. When I detoxify, what the hell am I detoxifying out of the body? Acids. And these acids are simply cellular doo-doo, cellular waste. Every cell in your body produces byproducts like your car motor, like your children, like your dog, like your horse. Everybody produces waste, and these wastes have to be eliminated. And it's as simple as it is. So when you're eating a high acid-dominant diet, and you start breaking down your bowels and your kidneys, now you start to see the backing up of all the sewage in the body. In the bowels, the reabsorption of putrefaction and fermentation. In your kidneys, the inability to remove acids out of the interstitial spaces of the body. Now you've got burning going on. And some of you feel the burning inside of you. You know, you can be cold and burn at the same time. Remember that. You can have a low thyroid, be cold, but be burning hot inside. That's extreme acidosis, and that's dehydration. And the only way to remedy dehydration is through ionization. And how do you do that? You bring in the base chemistry. You bring in the ladies to help. They're the saviors of the world. Believe it or not. So when I'm talking spiritual, I'm on my female side. No. Rossella. Hello, Rossella. Hi, Dr. Morris. I'm glad I found you. Question. I have dcis, cancer in the ducts and in the cells in different parts of the breast. Mastectomy recommended. Taking kidney tonic, lymph tonic capsules, tea.Diet, fruits and veggies with some cooked veggies with rice or buckwheat noodles. Also suffering from some inflammation in the stomach. Well, remember, this is a systemic problem. So this is the lymph in your breast, but it's all over you on that side. So it's going to be in that side of the stomach. It's going to be, you're going to have that acids not going anywhere, and that's inflammation. When inflammation is a natural immune response by your body. Even though people blame inflammation on everything, inflammation is really just an immune response. To what? Why is all this inflammation in the joints? What's all of the immune response to? Acids. Acids, remember, corrosive side of chemistry, not conducive to wellness. It's conducive to decay and atrophy. So you don't want to keep acids in your body. You're designed to be broken down, turned into salts, turned into water, in some way eliminated by the body. But when you start losing filtration of the kidneys and you're losing your adrenal mechanisms and you're losing your proper pHs, duodenally and everywhere else, everything starts swinging. Enzymatic action is shut down. Everything is shut down, determining on pH. pH, I've always said pH is everything to everything. Life is nothing but variances of pH. And when you look at it through the eyes of chemistry, this is what you see. But one pH in acid can be beneficial, like estrogen can be very beneficial. Absolutely. But it isn't real hot. You take a MMS, which is what, chlorine dioxide, 1.5 pH, you're at hydrochloric acid. That'll break down bone. And people are ingesting it. I just, I don't know. And I am scared of using your stomach endocrine adrenal tonic and stomach tea, as they contain wild yam root, which can promote estrogen. No, you're wrong, honey. No, sweetheart. What's your view on this? Thanks. No, that's not true, sweetie. Wild yam promotes progesterone, not estrogen. I don't make an estrogenic formula. None of my formulas are estrogenic, none of them. I add black cohosh. If you're a lady and you have had a hysterectomy, or you have passed menopause and you have vaginal dryness, you're going to have to use some black cohosh hooked on top of, say, the female reproductive, because my female reproductive is a progesterone dominant type formula. Wild yam is an anti-inflammatory. It is a progesterone type, steroid type. It's not a steroid, but it's anti-inflammatory. So no, you don't want to stop that because of that. Heck no, you want the wild yams. Most women have estrogen dominant problems. But you want to bring all that into balance anyway. And to bring estrogen and testosterone and bring all your steroids into balance is simply to make healthy the endocrine glands. And what makes an endocrine gland unhealthy? That's when blood or lymph isn't flowing properly. Well, we know blood pretty much flows properly, or atrophy or decay will be the end result of that one, infarctions. So what other system do you have that causes inflammation? Because the blood doesn't cause inflammation. You might have a protein in there that has to be acted upon, but as a rule, the inflammatory response is lymphatic. So you want to get on these. You definitely want to get on the stomach and bowels, the adrenals. Oh yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing. Let me tell you a little different path for this. All right, I would do 2 kidney formulas, honey. 1 capsule, 1 liquid. I would do an adrenal. If you have low blood pressure, hook it with licorice, because you're going to see low blood pressure with this coming. So check both sides. But hook with an adrenal. If it's below 120, say 115 or below, hook with licorice root. At the same time, add endocrine gland formula with that. At the same time, stomach and bowel. If you need to move your bowels a little bit, take a number 2. If you move fine, take number 1. 2-3 times a day. Take with this case, I would recommend, if it was me, I'm going to go on lymphatic capsule number 5. At the same time, I'm on liver gallbladder, and they're protecting my liver because number 5 is strong. At the same time, I'm on a capsule kidney and I'm on a tincture kidney. Now, I want a lymph node too. So I could do lymph node 3. Then I could shake it up. I'm going to go back to lymphatic 1 capsule after I do 1 month of lymphatic 5. Then I'm going to go over to lymph node 3 and maybe change it to lymph node 5 away from lymphatic 5. Doing 2 5s together is a butt kicker, and you want to make sure you're filtering before you do anything like that. That's how I would go down this. Take Parastie'Endocrine to kill your funguses and all that. Do your first kit. Do our first kit always. That starts you out. You get a good rhythm with that. You get to see what's going on, but kick it up, honey. Also, Get rid of the veggies and the noodles. Put yourself on fruits, berries, and melons only. Don't ride with this. Sweetheart, get this out of you now. And the only way to do it is hit the diet that your body's designed to eat. Hit a tropical diet of fruits, berries, and melons, and get on the herbs that I told you and start cleaning your body out, and you'll be very successful. Or it'll be a mastectomy. And the problem with this, sweetheart, is you didn't fix the problem with a mastectomy. Even if you might have to have one someday, if you don't get this, I'd pull with black salve before I do a mastectomy, because there's a little emotional component to this to females. And just removing a breast, that doesn't do anything, and you didn't fix the problem. So I've seen this many times. Tumors can grow right back on the chest wall. You have to be real careful how you deal with things. And just cutting something off doesn't always, it never really fixes the cause of the problem. So you're still straddled with the cause of the problem, although you fix the symptom. And of course, cutting off something in a highly acidic medium creates heavy scar tissue, and then they have to find other tissue to build it, and then you have, it's just a mess. And it's just not worth it when you can have a little self-discipline, my dear one, for about 4 months and clean this out of you. It's all it takes, 4 to 6 months. Should have it done in 4 months if it was me. Or less. Just depends how fast you can get your kidneys to filter, and you want to focus on that. You want your kidneys to filter. So you really want to go after this, dear one, and get this dealt with. If you need help, call up the clinic and get some help here, because you don't want to mess with us. All right, this is Mike O. Michel. Interesting. Thank you for sharing. You're welcome, my friend. Thank you. My question is the following. Is there any validity to the IgG silent inflammation test? I'm unaware of it. I don't look at that myself. So it could be. I really don't know what they're looking at that. You can send me some information and I'll take a look at it. But I never looked at that for inflammatory markers or anything. Thanks for your question, though. Dear Doc, I will be really grateful if you could help me. Absolutely. I have been through chronic breathing problems, sometimes so serious that it makes me feel like my days are over. Well, that's a neurological event. So you know that your stomach is involved and or your adrenal glands are involved. So you've got to pick up your adrenal glands, because that's your neurotransmitters that makes you breathe. And when your blood pressure is low, top number systolic is your neurotransmitter look in your adrenals. And when that's low, you see low blood pressure, that's low neural response, and then asthma, COPD change starts coming in, can't take a deep breath, hard to get breath out, things like this. Scary stuff. And also, if you have a lot of inflammation in the stomach, same problem. So, you want to clean up the GI tract as well as the kidneys and what? The adrenal glands. Get in there. Now, you can use lung 2, 3 lung tea. Get breaking up any sputum or hardened mucus you have in the lungs. Clean all that out, no question. But you have to clean up this GI tract to even do that well. And get onto those adrenal glands. That'll give you the neurotransmitters. It'll trip up your breathing, and you'll start breathing a lot better. This is real serious stuff. And this is a neurological event. At the same time, brain and nerve number 2 would be highly recommended, and upper circulation in case you have suppression for hypothalamus area. Which is kind of the center of the brain, which the pituitary is kind of snuggled around. And let me see what else. I have gone through blood tests, kidney infection, chest x-ray, IEG, among all these docs told me that I only have some allergy problems, but that cannot cause such a chronic breathing problem. You know what, these kind of things just make you sick. Because immediately as a physician, breathing is a neurological event. Thank you very much. So you just have to trace out where your nervous system is and what controls your nervous system. Of course, you're down to neurotransmitters of the adrenal glands. And, of course, you could get up in the head, I suppose, with some. But breathing is really from the adrenals and from the solar plexus here. I suppose some cerebellum could create some problems there, but my experience has been more stomach and adrenals. Clean those tissues up and you'll get your breathing back. At the same time, like I said, clean in these interstitials, because allergies are just suggesting that your lymph's backed up. But the breathing is chronic. That's lymph. That's a neurological event. But how do you break down your nervous system? Well, you break down your adrenal glands or the head, and what side of chemistry does that? Acid side of chemistry. So what system would that put you into? The lymphatic system. So you see how it keeps tying you back to that system, and everywhere you go, it's not that we're just sitting on it, we just love the lymph system. I love blood. And we're just not lymph fanatics, but that just happens to be the system that man's in trouble. You fix that system, and all the conditions of man is gone. I recently lost my mother. Now that doesn't help, because that's the adrenal glands. That's your emotional component. And of course, when that goes down, your breathing's even going to go down further. Here's another thing. Keep yourself cooler. Anytime you get around heat, I'm sure you already know your scenario. So when you have shortness of breath, keep yourself alkaline. Keep yourself around cooler temperatures. You'll breathe better while you're fixing yourself. You get into heat, it takes that energy out, and you even struggle to breathe more. About 45 days ago, this guy lost his mother. And doctors is associating it with depression and panic attacks. Now, give me a break. And if you have panic attacks, man, you know immediately it's your adrenal glands. So there's one thing you already tied right there, panic attacks. Now, if your mother passed and you got a panic attack from that, I submit you probably already have weak adrenals. And that event just tripped you over the top. But you have to remember, your mom is just like you, a soul on a journey. And this mother, this individual, just brought your body into this plane so you could come here and experience here. So know that that soul's on their journey and going on to a broader journey. For those that are not creating so much negative karma, your journeys expand and it's incredible. Those that keep creating this negative karma keeps coming back and experiencing the same crap until they learn how to break out of it. Now there's no free rides, even though it's all God doing it. It has no mercy on itself, almost. Oh. Anyway, if you have a depression there, where am I talking about? Parathyroid. In some way, I'll tell you how that's related. How would parathyroid be related to breathing problems? What would be the connection? Calcium. Calcium plays a major role in nerve transmission as well. So take a look at that parathyroid, because talking about depression and panic attacks, you're at the parathyroid for depression and panic attacks for the adrenal glands. Fix those two and you'll come out of those. But then also your breathing will pick up. And so actually now as you're saying this, you might have a calcium component to this as well. I feel the left side ribs is not letting me inhale or causing me to literally pull the oxygen in to inhale, and due to which I couldn't sleep several nights. Well, I don't know about all that. I'd have to look at your eyes to see what's going on with that. If you have a parathyroid weakness, you could have some weaknesses in the rib cage area and stuff, but the only reason you would feel any of that would be edema, swelling. And the only way you would get edema, or you don't want this pulmonary edema crap, but the only way you would get that would be back to the strong acidosis again, which would be the lymph system backed up. But I can tell you right now, you have a neurological component to this. I can tell you already. Doctors are unable to diagnose my illness, and I am getting weaker by the day. No, my friend, pull yourself out of this stuff. And losing myself. Oh, you poor dude. I don't understand why they don't suggest to get to the other parts of my body checked to analyze the reason of my breathing problems. Because they're mind writers. They don't know how. They're not to be negative. It takes a spiritual being to pull back from the mind. And that's what spirituality means, is that your ability to wake up a little bit and not mind write so much, you get to see more. When you're mind writing, you're focused in one direction, in one area. So you see a symptom, you're focused in on the symptom. But they've had so much academics, that's all they're capable of. So when you ask them to pull back and look holistically, it's like, what? Then it's immediate negative, because it's a threat to their mind ride. And it's just having to learn, how do you get out of the mind? And that's what I've been also trying to tell you on these videos. How do you get to the place where you can use your mind instead of your mind using you? And when your mind uses you, that's when you lose yourself. When you use your mind, you found yourself. And that's why. They can't think outside of the box. And it's just consciousness. It's fixed states of consciousness. And the academic world can fix it even more in you if you're not careful. You have to be an aware being to be able to use the mind and still be able to pull back when that sort of thing. And then your job is for your more advanced souls out there, learn how to use the mind and still be conscious. That's what you have to do in the final analysis. Anyway, sorry about that. I don't know. I have had this problem from about 2 years on and off. Now, you could have some neurotoxins associated with this, and that all has to be detoxable too. Just remember all of this. But not so chronic, and tried some tests before, nothing came out. It's now, from 1 month, my problem aggravated too much. I feel all breathing blockage from left side. I have sinus problem, but I know it can't be the cause of what I'm going through. No, but is it linked? Absolutely. How is it linked? The lymphatic system. Why? The kidneys and the adrenals are the pinnacle. Those are the eliminative organs, even though the adrenals are the gland that turns on the organ. Those two twins go together. And remember, you have a left-sided kidney and adrenal, and you have a right-sided kidney and adrenal. Your adrenal gland on the right side could be popping good, and your left side be down, and you feel more neurological problems on your left side. You have two sides of the body, like it or not, that come together. That's why we say check blood pressures both sides, basal temperature both sides. Get this, check your blood sugar both sides. See what you see. You have an adrenal gland controlling sugar metabolism bilaterally. See what I'm saying? So, life is so much bigger than the AMA, it's not even funny. They are stagnant in a morass of toxic pharmaceuticals, and they're in trouble. And I feel sorry for the average medical doctor who got into the field wanting to help people. Unless they become a good surgeon or a very, very good ER doc, chances are slim. Any other way, it's just amazing. I remember when I had my kidney stone, I went to a renal man, since I can't recommend my own narcotics. And his bedside manner was so bad, I just wanted to say, you know what, you're a butt. I don't know how you have patience. Your ego is way out there. You don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know. It was something else. Anyway, that's what you have to do, my friend. You have to address this. And I would address it with upper circ, brain, and nerve. I address it with adrenals. If your blood pressure is low, piggyback licorice root with that. Do 2 kidney formulas, lymphatics. I really start cleaning. Get on this GI tract. Clean this GI tract up. And get going. It's the only way you're going to overcome this. And you can overcome it easily. All this crap you went through medically, this is not a difficult case, guys, for this guy to fix this. Not at all. Dr. Morris, what do you think of dry fasting? Well, you know what? Some people have said that they've seen their kidneys start filtering during dry fasting. I find it quite interesting. I've done very little dry fasting in my life, to be honest with you. I'm always into some type of fruit juice or lemon fast. I did 27 days once on the Stanley Burroughs. I did without the maple syrup. Dry fasting, I've probably only done 3 days at the most. So I don't know what to say. I'll say this about it. It would be my wish that you would take some time to get your kidneys filtering, get your bowels cleaned up, get your adrenals turned on. Get your body a little down the road before you do that. Dry fasting right off is not smart. When you're all plaqued up, impacted in the bowels, you have the kidneys not filtering, and you're dry fasting, no, you really want to get hydration going a little bit first. That's important to me is hydration. When you see someone that's already systemically locked, where the kidneys are not filtering, this is breeding, of course, extreme acidosis. You just don't want to take off dry fasting. You want to bring hydration into the body first. You want to loosen things up first. Then your dry fast is so much more beneficial. That would be my high recommendation for that one, for sure. It seems very harsh to me. It does. And I don't think one has to do it, to be honest with you. There are some of the guys out there doing that, of course. And, they'll make good healers down the road because they'll be very knowledgeable. I've done almost everything but that sort of thing, extended periods of time. I just think that you need some hydration for a while until you get everything hydrated and good. And then you could dry fast with probably a week or less with no problems whatsoever. But I wouldn't recommend too much of it until you do get yourself moving and filtering and things like that. If you know how it works, what it does to the body, please explain. Well, when you are dry fasting, and it's almost the same as water fasting, when you're not taking in chemistry that has to be metabolized or acted upon, then all that energy that was involved in digestion, there's quite a bit of energy, systemic energy involved in the digestive process. By the time you consume, break down, absorb, utilize, and eliminate, you've got a lot of processes going on there. When you restrict yourself from that, the systemic energy goes way up. And the body then removes its focus from, let's say, survival and the current dietary habits of people into cleaning and healing itself. Your body is a natural desire, a natural consciousness to do that. It's bred in the consciousness of the human body. And matter of fact, in all the vertebrates. Matter of fact, even plants detoxify, guys. Everything detoxifies at different time periods. And we just need to do that ourselves. And we're doing it. But we have taken our bodies and our cells to a level never seen before. So there is regeneration that's essential. That's why this is regenerative detoxification. Because the end goal is regeneration of tissue of the cell. And that is essential in today's genetic weaknesses. And very, very accomplishable. If you have strong cells, strong genes, you guys can regenerate genetic weaknesses twice as fast. It's amazing, 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 amazing. Because your focus is true, proper, and correct. In both chemistry and physics, everything fits, everything is right, everything is in harmony with the Homo sapiens physiology and his anatomy, everything is right. That's when truth sits in the chair and drives your car, and you start smiling because your car is a car of truth. I do not, but the same thing with water fasting. That gives that body the energy, and the focus then is to clean. So you get more aggressive cleaning when you don't have energy being used for digestion, and that's another reason why fruits over vegetables. And it's also another reason in neurological weaknesses when the energy is a key factor in regeneration, myelin sheaths, and everything else, whether you get it from neurotransmitters or whatever source, you have to have this energy to do these things with. That's why the living over the cooked fired. You know, when you destroy your chemistry and your physics, your energy and foods, and you agglomerate the chemistry and all this, how is it a food anymore? It is not a food anymore. Cooked broccoli is not the same chemically and magnetically as raw broccoli. It's not the same food anymore. But man is still wallowing in unconsciousness. And it just has to wake up, and we need your help to do it, guys. I need as many of you as I can to help this planet do this. It's not difficult. It's extending a helping hand to your neighbor, to your friend. Help people. Help animals. Help plants. Now, I do not trust most information anymore. I don't either, honey. I'll tell you the truth. My God, there's so much crap out there. And everything reads good. Go to the MMS website. It reads good, except look at all the misspellings and stuff all over the place. And then when you allude that chlorine dioxide is an electron donor, that's totally opposite of what it really is. Even though bleach is very alkaline, chlorine dioxide is very acidic, at least according to one chemical site. Also, they say that water is necessary for inflammation. Let me see here. I trust your expertise on the body. Thanks, honey. I appreciate that. If one dry fast, how would the toxins come out of the body? Well, see, that's the point. Now, some of the guys have told me that they see their kidneys filtering where they weren't when they dry fast. It's possible, but let me tell you, I believe that, take it easy. Get your body hydrated a little bit, work on your kidneys to filter, get the adrenals up, do things like this before you dry fast, and you'll have a better time. But I don't even know why one needs to. But if you want to join that and try that for a few days, not going to hurt you, but clean yourself out a little bit first. Because if you don't, things can get bumpy and rough. Also, especially if you're impacted in the bowels and you have auto-intoxication or reabsorption of putrefact, blah, 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 blah. So you really want to do some cleaning first. Also, they say that water is necessary for inflammation, and that's why water fast is good for you. Well, remember, inflammation is a natural immune response. But edema, that's swelling, that is an immune response to acidosis. So it isn't water takes down inflammation, it's water helps inflammation, because inflammation is, from the medical doctors, is seen as a negative thing when it's your main immune system dealing with the problem. It's the problem that's the problem, not your immune response. So then they have this autoimmune response bull crap and stuff like that doesn't exist. Stuff like that. But water is the universal solvent. So notice you wash your hands in water. You wash your clothes in water. Oxygen it's a donor of electrons real easily. So it's an oxidizer. As part of that ionization, oxidation, neutralization, that waxing and waning of electrons and protons, pull it forward. Acid, base, pull it forward. Positive and negative. So water is good, and I highly recommend water fasting as opposed to dry fasting myself. But I would recommend, I do like mineral water, but distilled water is a good faster too. That doesn't sound right to me, to not drink just to get rid of inflammation. So you're not trying to get rid of the inflammatory response. That's a natural response. It's the acids you want to get rid of, the proteins you want to get rid of, that the response is to. Now, there's immune responses to bacterium and virals and things like that. Okay, we're not talking about that kind of immune response. We're talking about the cholesterols, the edemas, the calcium immune responses to acidosis or proteins. And that isn't the problem of inflammation, it's the problem with the chemistry. You remove the chemistry, your body backs up having an immune response to it. Don't need to anymore, you've cleaned that up. So the body backs away from it. The body's only doing what it's doing to survive. Medical doctors don't learn that now. I don't know why you're in the friggin' field you're in. I don't get that. Thank you very much for all the useful, thank you, Keita. Thank you, sweetie. I am currently in week 2 of your 14-week kit. Loving it. Oh, good. It's a strong way, ain't it? I tell you, it's a strong ride. But, you know what? Until I had a man in, I think today it was. That's why I was going to do this video earlier, but he was using my office. And man didn't have anything wrong until it's sitting here. You don't have any tumors? You don't have any, that sort of thing anywhere? And no. It's like we're so geared to the impossibles that when someone comes in just wanting to feel better, it's like, are you kidding? So he was a little like, what? All of us are geared to the incurables. They're just because that's the level where most people are at. And some of you that don't think you have problems, take a look at your eyes and take a look at your body again. Since I had parasites, and sure enough, there they are, exciting, thick, and fast. Now listen, here's what you might want to do, because I could do better on my worm detoxifying thing. And the reason, you get into worm-killing herbs, you're into the toxic herbs. You got to realize what kills worms can kill humans at different levels. It's all about dosages. So you have to be careful, because they're little creatures like we are, made of cells like we are. So you just have to remember that. Some things that'll destroy parasites can affect us very negatively. And take a look at this, like Lamisil and that line of pharmaceuticals have a lot of fatal events tied to them. And these are just antifungals. It's like, what? Scary stuff out there. I have what look like liver flukes, probably, and there's pancreatic flukes, stuff like that. Little flat lemon pips or jellyfish-looking things, absolutely. As well as red-colored threadworms. Yeah, let's look at here. Threadworms. Come here, babies. You guys, let's wake up here. Come on. There we go. Threadworms. Here's a tumor. What all you want to see. Here's a roundworm. Okay. Here's a flask of roundworms. Some nurse got this out of her. This nurse had this, she could feel this movement in her head and all kinds of problems. And she got flasks and flasks of these out. There's a tumor I pulled out of somebody if you want to see a tumor. You can't hardly see this one. This was an alive roundworm, and I didn't know how to keep it alive. It was about 13 inches long. It was about as round as a pencil, kind of dehydrated. But take a look at the pictures we're getting in. The girls back there go, the pictures are unbelievable. You guys are getting some gnarly stuff out. No question about it. You're getting some real gnarly stuff out. Good for you. Good. And I'll say this. You can take the Parasite Gi. If you see worms or flukes, take the Parasite Gi. I would do 4 to 5 capsules 4 to 5 times a day. Really hit it hard. Remember, Hannah Kroger's 20 wormwood capsules a day. Too much. But it's enough. I did that one. But, you know, go after this and get yourself deworms, threadworms. Wow. Plus things that look like sesame seeds. That could have been pins or anything like that. Or crushed nuts and smaller chia-like seeds. I didn't eat these seeds, so I know it's nothing. No, there's all kinds of little worms like that. Wow. That's a good job, honey. You know, it's funny, in America, medical doctors don't believe we have parasitic problems. So I'm hoping, thanks to Animal Planet, that the Monsters Within Me program will reignite parasitology departments around the world. Because I remember one university was about to close their parasitology department. I'm going, no, don't close it. Let me see. Plus today I passed what looked like chopped up tapeworm. Ooh, wow. God, you got to feel good once you get all this stuff out of there. Honey, you are really impacted with worms. Yuck. In addition to the recommended dosage of Parasite MG, I have taken a couple of dosages of diatomaceous earth. Probably should. With this much parasites, you probably should. But go on up with your dosages on Parasite MG. You can go on up to 4 or 5, 6 capsules 4 times a day, easy. Yep. But be careful. You know, we use that. I use that at home for ants and stuff. But again, you've got a delicate mucosa yourself. So I'm just real concernful with diatomaceous earth, which is said to, I know, I'm throwing the kitchen sink at this. I don't blame you to eradicate these parasites. I don't blame you. That's what I was saying. Don't get too freaked out, sweetheart, because they're in everybody almost. Not everybody, but almost. And don't worry, they're killable and you'll be fine. Firstly, what is your view on DE? I gave it to my dog daily too. I don't believe in it. Again, I wouldn't give it to my dog either, especially anyone that's smaller, because again, this is like glass, and you just really, you know, no matter if it's well, rip up a worm versus a human. No, I don't even put crap like that in my body. No way. You know, we're a superior species, delicate. You know, put good stuff in there. So there's plenty of herbs to kill all these babies. Second, I am 95 to 99% raw vegan, but have never really felt like I thrive due to constant digestive issues of bloating. Well, you see what you're getting out, right? So you might do, I don't know if you have sulfur, check your eyes and see if you have orange in your pupils. But again, that would be sulfur. That could create some gassy bloating. Also, you could have malabsorption, heavy lymph. I mean, these worms are feeding on something besides just impacted matter. Who knows? You want to fix this, but I would get up on my fruits, berries, and melons and really clean my lymph system out, because that's your sewer system, and these babies love sewer systems. Where are you getting them out of? The butt, right? They love sewer systems, so clean your sewer system. And you might do a pancreatic, liver, gallbladder. If you want to save money, do a liver, gallbladder formula, then do a pancreatic formula. Liver, gallbladder, pancreatic formula for about 2 months. You'll pick that up. At the same time, you're working on your kidneys, your adrenals, your lymph system. You're cleaning up your bowels. Get on the GI broom. I don't think many worms are going to like that one. I can't believe that for someone who eats so well, I'm not totally thriving. Well, you were, no offense, you were feeding the multitudes. Maybe that's what Jesus was doing, because he was a healer too, just like all of you guys. And the way he got tapeworms out, he fasted the patient, set them in a thing of milk, and then when that baby put its little head out there, that's what they claim anyway. But dig deeper. You know, like I said, sometimes you can just be a vegan and still have serious lymphatic problems. You have to go fix some things first and then be a vegan. I mean, it's just you have to get into this ultimate level of detoxification. Fix yourself and then balance yourself. That's the best way I can say it. I can't believe, let me see here. Despite yummy fruits and salads, I constantly feel unsatisfied with my meals and turn to raw dark chocolate or sensei. Well, you know, not only are you wormed, you're probably fungal. That's why you're kind of maybe making that move too. So you want to defungal yourself. Keep working on that side, but why do you want to work on your lymph system for? Malabsorption. And if you're not thriving and filling that, then I submit you're probably also malabsorbed. And your lymph system is backed up interstitially in your bowel wall. This could be a nesting ground. Horrible place to be a nesting ground. I had a man here, owned an air conditioning company, and he had a big hernia, groin hernia down on the right side. And so we strapped him and we worked on him, you know, and probably within 3 days he started seeing all these worms coming out. Lots of worms coming out. So he kind of freaked out and went to his medical doctor. Was showing his medical doctor. His medical doctor said, "Man, alive." He said, "My guess is those worms were in that," because his hernia went away when the worms came out. And it's like, I thought that was a good take for the medical doctor, but my question was, how did they get from in the groin area into the colon and then out? He got a nest out shortly after that as well, and he's been fine ever since. Interesting stuff, isn't it? I mean, this is so much fun and interesting when you're working in the human condition because it's so gnarly. I mean, we are cesspools. The human body is cesspool. Look at what we put in it. I mean, here's our kids walking around with turquoise neon lighted drinks. We sell that to our children and let them drink it? All chemistry is good for you, though, right? Right. This feels like an addiction or compulsive. No, it's an addiction of your fungal community. So get your fungus out, too, and you're working on that, and that'll change that sensation. But I'd rather see you cheat on a little chocolate than proteins or dairies. Those are your worst cheats. I constantly feel unsatisfied with my meals and turn to raw dark chocolate thing. This feels more like an addiction. And late from my diet says, now I am eliminating parasites. I have to say my cravings for the chocolate are diminishing. Told you. And it will too. Once you get the fungus out as well, you won't even like breads or cheeses anymore. I don't like any of those things. I have to say my got down. Good. Ditch the chocolate crunch very soon. See, it's a crutch, and it's just. I like what you're saying here, dear one. You're really using that properly. Because let's be truthful with each other. We're all just humans. We're actually spiritual beings having a human experience if you want to put it properly. And the human condition is what it is. So sometimes we need to grab something as a crutch or support us once in a while. Nobody's judging. I don't judge anybody for anything like that at all. And anybody who does is going to get a blowback too, because you can't judge it. Life is the way it is. We just help each other get through things and get healthy and go through our experiences, try to learn, try to wake up. Or, for those who have just got here, have fun playing. Be careful what you create. If I thought my bloating and stomach distension after eating was bad before embarking on the herbs, that's 10 times worse. You might have sulfur in there. You might have a lot of sulfur. Check your eyes and see if that's orange around the pupil there, because that could create a lot of gassy bloating as you're pulling that out. I mean, herbs, you have to realize herbs and diet, they're not there to hurt you. They expose the truth. It's like de-skinning someone and look, oh, I see the problem. That's what herbs and diet does. Detoxification is just showing you the truth of what your body really is inside. That's what you want to know, because not knowing leads you down the road to the medical world, which these guys, they don't know anything. They know how to give you pharmaceuticals. Thank God we have good ER docs and people to stabilize people. We got good surgeons, things like that. I'm not talking about that. If I thought, okay, let's go on here. I am passing stools like nobody's business and can't wait for the die-off and elimination bloating to settle down. Yeah, your body's probably purging like crazy. You know, it's funny. And it's not, raw foods don't purge you. Herbs don't purge you unless you have laxatives. So why are you purging? The body's purging. The body wants this stuff out, and you now are giving it the opportunity. Good for you, honey. I also now understand why I sometimes get that pain in the area of my liver. Yep. I read that liver fluke. Yep. You're right on. You're right on. This is Renee. On thriving on raw fruits and veggies once these parasites are a good deal. 2 other symptoms I am experiencing are a very itchy, irritated sensation on the liver spot on the right hand. Again, fungus. Fungus. Yep. Oh, let me see here. Floaters in my eyes which look like faint black worms that pass over my eyes. I don't think so. I mean, you could have a little bit of detached retinas or pupils. You know, sometimes the pupil breaks down, you see little black spots around. I don't think those are worms, though, honey. I wouldn't go too crazy with the little critter thing because, like I said, you ladies can go bonkers worrying about this. Don't go bonkers. Ground yourself. You'll be okay. It's just coming out, and you'll be okay. And you'll feel so much better. Get the fungus out, and the same thing. All the itching, all that will go away. I'd also like to deworm my children. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because remember, the 3-year-old and the 7-year-old, I don't know how long you've had these worms, could have had them for years and years, and that means the potential that your kids have them right up there. Could you explain the protocol for the children? I'd use the same formulas, but much lower dosages. Much lower dosages. The dosage is on the bottle for the weight of your children. But same thing, they're little adults, but I definitely deworm them. Ooh. Parasite M is enough probably to deworm them. But if you use the wormwood, depending on their weight, capsules, these are young, 3-year-olds, a little young for capsules. We might have Parasite G in liquid. If we don't, use Parasite M. You know, very few worms enjoy black walnut at all. Even though wormwood is a big, for bigger boys, none of those bigger boys like black walnut at all. Quite frankly, I don't either. This is Curvan, I think. Hi, Dr. Morris. I have an 18 month-old girl who is always rubbing her eyes and digging her nose. I suspect she is congested in her. Yeah, you know, you guys are good. You guys are really good, and you're probably right. She's congested in there. She's rubbing her eyes. They can be fungus and itchy, that sort of thing. So, 18 months old. She is beyond the need for milk. So now's the time, it's way past the time to have her on fruits. So you want to bid her on fruits, juices and fruits, coconut water, maybe milk, you know. Get her on some good fruits, 18 months, oh, absolutely. And so start detoxifying with the diet. You know, let the diet clean her out. You might think about a couple of drops of a kidney, a couple of drops of endocrine gland, just to make sure your daughter's growing and everything is working well, but get her on the fruits now. If you have her on the dairy products, she's going to get real clogged up in the sinuses and everything else, and that includes mother's milk at this point. 18 months, pretty much getting the close of, let's get away from this. My grandson went on fruits at 3-4 months old. So it's just, it just depends. This guy is, I can't believe him. He's solid as a rock. There's no fat on that baby whatsoever. I mean, he's 3.5 now, and it's like, oh my God, he's wearing 5-year-old clothes. It's like, what are you giving him? Fruit only. This kid just likes fruit and berries and melons. Amazing. Little warrior dude. But you're right on. She's probably backed up in there. So she's going to detoxify, so that means a little fever. Don't freak out. Babies like higher fevers than adults, so don't freak out. Cool, cool. Okay? You detoxify babies like you do adults. Don't freak out. And again, younger kids like higher temperatures. Okay? Fevers are essential. Don't buy into the medical stupidity. You know, that's another thing about the medical stupidity. Fevers, you want to stop a fever? That's insanity. That right there shows you they don't understand a thing about health. And then to use the word in health in any type of way, that's a problem. And her eyes have been looking puffy for months. That's what I'm saying. A couple of drops of kidney, a couple of drops of endocrine gland. That'll pick up her pituitary, her adrenal, her thyroid, and everything. Very safe. These are all berries. Get up the kidneys and get the things moving. You could even give them a couple of drops of lymphatic 1. And we have it all in a real strong glycerin formula for them. So absolutely. And get her on fruit. Good fruit. You can use coconut water and stuff as well. I brought her to the MD, and he has sent her for allergy testing, which we are waiting the data. Yeah. You know what? I wouldn't even put my little baby through that. And if this medical doctor didn't know why, then he doesn't understand the lymph system, which I didn't expect him to anyway. But protect your daughter from them. That's all I got to say. It isn't good how medical doctors treat babies. It is not good. Look up the Neaton procedure. See if that's a good procedure for babies. I brought her to the, okay, let me see. If she has allergies, what system are you talking about, my friend? The lymph. Puffy eyes, that's kidneys, lymph, absolutely. Could have fungus in them as well. Take a look at the mama. She lived in her mama for a while. Take a look at the mama's lymph system. See if you can get that baby's eyes. Look at that baby's, excuse me, her eyes. Excuse me. For now, I ordered upper circulation, brain and nerve, kidney, and adrenal formulas for her. Well, that's okay. Yeah, you got to make her smart, huh? I mean, that's the problem. You know, making these kids smart like this. The schools can't handle these smart kids. I'm not joking. These schools are like going, what? I mean, these children, their comprehension levels are way out the roof. And keeping your daughter awareness up there instead of mind writing her all the time, you're going to have a very spiritual little being on your hands here. I have been giving her 1/3 dropper full. Wow. Well, 1/3 dropper full. I was thinking about drops, but 1/3, that's probably a little more than you need to give her. You could cut it down to even more, to a 1/4 dropper full, probably be good. I don't know if these will hurt her, but boy, I tell you, that'll really enhance her nerve and brain function. And I'm telling you, you can see these genetic lesions disappear when you do what you're doing. So we don't really know, except for lymphatic formulas, which are your strongest herbs. All these other herbs, I don't know where most of them don't have toxicity levels. The ones we use. I'm having a hard time getting her to eat fully raw because of family. I know it. Any suggestions? That's a tough one. I don't know. You know, I don't know where I am with that. I know I'm a pretty strong fella, so I don't care what my family thinks, because I don't have much of a family left anymore. They're all under the ground. But I don't care what other people think. And you shouldn't either. We're on our own journey here. And this is your baby. You brought this soul here. And you're kind of straddled the responsibility of this. So who cares what other people think? I know with family members and things like that, the other party, of course, is the wife or the mother. And boy, we see the conflicts all the time out there where the man or the wife is in the raw and the other one is not near as aware. Nicely put. It's a dog tag. It's bad. And I don't know what to say about it. I'm saying that right now this is a difficult time on this planet at all levels, obviously. And this is just another one. And you just have to stand firm and tall on this and teach them that the human body is a primate body, but more refined yet, and that we're frugivores. We don't have anything on us that would depict violence in terms of procurement of food, and including vegetables. We don't really need to bend over and pick. We can reach to the heavens and pick. So I would get into some of that Zen stuff, explaining to them, and Johnny Appleseed stuff, and keep working with them in terms of the vigor. But as you get your daughter healthier and vibrant and way out there in awareness, they'll be going like that. Oh, see, I got more time to go. Victoria. I have been juicing fruits for 19 months. Wow. 80% plus herbs this period. Nervous, upper, adrenal, skin connection issue, Gi Broom'Stron Bones. Oh, wow. As a side effect of detox, acnea, ACNEEA, I don't know what that is, appears. It is very strong. I know kidney aren't filtered as they should be. Our fruits feed candida. I detox too deep, that's for sure, thus my acne. I am so worried. I love myself and I love what I am doing, but I think I skipped something in this equation. Could be my liver, cause of pancreas. Thanks. Victoria, honey. No. You know, sweetie, even if you dig deep in the body, you have to anyway. So never get with that. Let's go back here. Okay, are you talking about acne, the skin problems? If you are, that would be probably part of detox anyway for you. It's rare that when you're backed up subcutaneously, that's right under this top layer, dermis, epidermis, and then subcutaneous. When that's backed up and you're not sweating good and you have dry skin, that's all acids building up under the tissues. Your skin is going to look beautiful in the dermis, but in the subcutaneous be full of acids and a roaring mess. And then when you start opening the door, you were right, your kidneys are not filtering. Out the skin it goes. So don't be afraid. Just keep going and clean yourself out. Get your kidneys filtering and it'll relieve. All your skin will come clean again. You're not stuck with this. Unless you stop detox, then you're stuck with it. You want to keep promoting yourself deeper and going on more and more and more until there's no more acne on your skin left anymore. Your kidneys are filtering, you're feeling great, and everything moves good, and there's no feeling of stiffness, tightness, or burning anywhere. So don't be afraid. You did just the right thing. Acne is just part of the acids that have to come out, except remember, your skin is your third kidney. So while you're working on your other two kidneys that are not filtering, your skin is taking up the job for you. Thank you. But not pleasant. And it could itch pretty bad because whenever you see all the sewage building up, what do you see in sewer departments? Fungus and bacterium. But that's why they're there. It's sewage. Would you rather have bacteria and fungus eat your sewage or you re-eat your sewage? Just saying. So I think you're doing right here. Remember, I do 2 kidney formulas, an adrenal gland formula like you're doing, upper circuit nerve, that's good for strengthening strong bones. If you want to strengthen even more, get the parathyroid for 1 bottle, 2-3 times a day for 1 bottle. But that's not your detoxing too deep, and I wouldn't worry about it a bit. If you want to go after your liver and pancreas, again, do 1 bottle of liver gallbladder, 1 bottle of pancreas, 1 bottle of liver gallbladder, 1 bottle of pancreas. Couple months. Let me be truthful. If you simply clean your lymph system, you're going to clean up your liver, your pancreas, your heart, your lungs, your brain, and everywhere else because everything runs by 2 fluids. And it's the one fluid that's breaking down everybody. Fix that, and you're good. Really good. Wow. Dr. Morris, thank you for your service. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that, my friend. I found your site a little over a month ago, and from that day, myself and one of my children have been eating mostly fruits. Yeah! Oh, that sounds good. He is a 4-year-old, get this, type 1, diagnosed this year. Oh my God. Question, neurological or beta cell? They probably don't even tell you there's 2 different types of type 1s. He also has a hard time getting words out if he is stuttering and and times and deep breathing before starting a sentence. Where's this kind of taking us now, guys? Isn't this kind of pulling us toward a neurological type 1? And most of this is in the central nervous system. So this is a little more serious here. So this is a 4-year-old young man, and this father is this a father? Can't tell. Love April. Mother. Great. Good mom. Good mom. Okay. Now, upper circuit brain and nerve, just like this other gentleman is doing on his daughter, you do it on your son. I would. Upper circuit brain and nerve, honey, because this is a young man in trouble here, neurologically. And this could definitely be, the type 1 could be a neurological type 1 from this. So you just watch this and see how this promotes. But I would definitely go in upper circuit brain and nerve. At the same time, I'm going to go after this 4-year-old's kidney and adrenal glands. Definitely. And the lymph system too. Probably going to clean up the GI tract, because remember, the pancreas is a branch, the liver is a branch. And if the beta cells are down, it could be down lymphatically, but you're giving me some hints that I'd be looking neurologically at this young man. And, of course, the adrenals for the breathing. Take a deep breath first. So, again, these children are coming through with major kidney and adrenal weaknesses, guys, and that's tripping into what? The autonomic weaknesses, major. And, of course, from all the genetics and everything in these kids are down almost. It's just horrible. He also grinds his teeth. Yep. I would like to know if it would be best to start him on the 14-week program or just start with 2. All right, so he's 4 years old. In a 4-year-old, you can start with kidney number 1, adrenals. You can also give him the endocrine gland if you would like, or just give him the endocrine gland as opposed to the adrenals and the endocrine gland. I might be inclined to give him 2, but let's start with 1 kidney formula. At 4 years old, I'd give him lymphatic 1, a few drops. Upper circuit brain and nerve for sure. And I would be working on his GI tract in some way or another. I don't know if he could take capsules, open up stomach and bowel 1 and put it in some applesauce or something with cinnamon on it. Something like that maybe. But work on your young man. The fruits will clean his GI tract pretty good though. But I would work on this other for sure with this. You could give him a little pancreatic formula for a little while, just to enhance the pancreatic function. But if the beta cells are down genetically, then that would help enhance. The pancreatic herbs would help. Also, the barbarous herbs would help, which is the gallbladder and liver herbs. Oregon grape, burdock, yellow dock. They're also good to enhance the function of hepatic and pancreatic functions. I would also give him a little parasite M for a while. Fungus and all kinds of stuff. 14-week, too intense for a young man at 4 years old. But the brain and nerve and upper circ, for sure. I also have a 17-year-old that was diagnosed at age 9 months. She was also diagnosed with what? She has extreme pain in her back, radiating up the neck with tightness throughout. It was like that lady on the Bush People. Remember her? She had to go into the doc. It was going to take a while. She's a meat eater. High protein diets. She's so acidic and inflamed. Look at her. She's white. She's dehydrated. The poor thing. They do have some other stuff. But these people need to fix themselves. She's so acidic and inflamed, it's not even funny. That's easy fixable. And they make like it's such a big deal. It's easy fixable. But you want to fix this 17-year-old's pain in the neck and stuff like this. I don't like that a bit. That can lead to a lot of spinal problems and stuff. When you see pain radiating and tightness, remembering there's only 2 sides of chemistry, which side would you pick would be the problem? The acid side, wouldn't it? Exactly. That's inflammatory. All right, now, which system deals with the acid side of chemistry? Thank you. So this is your 17-year-old's lymph system. But you might want to work on her neurological system too, You might want to give her some upper circumbrain nerve too. I don't know how well she's doing and everything, but you've got to get her kidneys and adrenals opened up so she can drain her back. I would let her put cold compresses and cold showers on the back, work those neurolymphatic points real good down the back, get those kidneys filtering, get her fixed up. You can fix your daughter up real easy here. And you want to get this son fixed up at 4. That's neurological of what I'm seeing here, and you don't want to have any problem neurological. She also has joint pain and swelling. What's that? All acidosis again. That's not alkalosis, that's acidosis. The same problem she's going to have systemically all through her, Mom. She's going to have this all through her. Because, why? Her lymph system's down. And when it's down, whatever side or both sides, head to toe. You see it in the hot spots first, of course. That's your more genetically weakened areas. Yes, Candida. I watch all recent videos as they come out and also watch older videos when the house goes to bed. Yeah, that is my entertainment instead of, you're sweethearts. I hope you get this then. Chris should get this up tomorrow. I titled this email Lymphatic Cancer because my stepfather was just diagnosed with that title of cancer. They're all lymphomas. I don't know why they specifically diagnose one as a lymphatic cancer. They're all lymphatic cancers. You could say it's a lymphatic cancer if you had it of the lymph node, where you held acid so long it fried your lymph node down. Those are big concerns of mine. There are some things that are scary. And atrophy of a lymph node is one of them. It would be just like having one removed. If a medical doctor understood why you don't remove lymph nodes, and your father has to do the same thing as everybody else does. But remember, you're at a downline of your father, so I submit to you, take a look at your kidney, sweetheart, and adrenal glands too, because your lymph system is going to be down just as well. They actually called it CD5 negative, CD10 negative, and small B-cell lymphoma. I love all that, doesn't it? Sounds real intellectual, don't it? Well, you've got CDS negative, and you've got CD10 negative, and small cell B-cell lymphoma. When you have a cell that's damaged, that's a cancer cell. Now, it has to be damaged at a certain level, because up to a certain level of damage and mutation, it is simply defined as an atypical cell. All these cancer cells are the same in that they have two things that you always see involved: acids/proteins and mucus, which is your immune response to that. So what can you get out of that? Well, the proteins and acids that the cells were discharging can no longer be filtering through the kidneys because the kidneys started filtering. So little by little, that lymph system backed up into those tissues. Well, that's inflammation. When it backs up in the cell, that's intracellular acidosis. Kiss that cell goodbye, because it's going to start mutating the mitochondria, the DNA. And then if it replicates itself, then you've got replications of mutation. That's why in the final analysis, macrophages will come in and eliminate the cells. That's if you can get them to the lymph nodes, which is where the lymph system takes all your damaged cells. It doesn't take it to your blood and send it off into your other tissues. What? It is labeled non-Hodgkin's. I'm familiar, honey. They want him to do chemo. Of course. Yeah, let's fry him. He's already frying, so let's fry him some more. We'll have human fry meat for supper. It is labeled now. They want him, he is a little confused as to what to do and scared. Well, have him view these videos. He should not be scared because he has total power over his body. Who controls his body or himself? Probably his mind, more than likely. But it's enough to say, let him view this video because, Dad, you've got to fix this. Just like your daughter's fixing herself and her kids. And the secret is this is your lymph system, which is what they already told you. They just don't know the lymph system. They don't know the kidney connections. They don't know the connections. So they don't know how to help anybody but to attack. You don't attack things that are already attacking you. Because in one way of looking at it, you can basically say these acids are attacking you. And you're going to burn with more acids? Well, let's just burn the acids out with stronger acids. Oxymoron. All right. He doesn't have to be scared. He just has to get knowledgeable and learn what he has to do to fix this problem. If he chooses to treat his problem, you might be kissing your father goodbye. That's all there is to it. How he chooses to treat himself determines his life. Just get on the Cancer Treatment Center America. Look at their oncology successes, because it matches oncology, and right there you're going to see the success rate with lymphomas. And it depends the location, but the lymph system is not difficult to open up and fix. Lymphomas are not difficult to get out. Matter of fact, all cancers are lymphomas, guys. Even leukemias, they call it a lymphatic type of cancer. I had him and my mother start to watch your videos, and they have both been eating fruit for about 3 weeks. Good. Please advise us as to what he needs to take as far as your herbals. 14-week protocol, or have me write him one up. Either way, but I wouldn't wait to have me write. I'm so backed up. But get started on the 14-week and send me the stuff, and I'll finish it up for him, write him up one. But I would get him on a protocol real quick. Get fruit, berries, and melons only, Dad. That's and the astringent varieties, subacid to the acids. Right now, the orange season's coming in. Navels are hot. They're great juice. You know, really pop down the oranges, the grapefruit, the grapes, the blueberries, the blackberries, the apples. All the good fruit. Watermelon, if you can get it. All kinds of stuff. That'll start cleaning your lymph system, your kidneys, and you'll start fixing yourself up. Get on these herbs to exacerbate that, accelerate that. We have both joined membership, and a day or so ago they sent in a medical form of some kind, she was saying. She said they were going to wait for your response. I know that. Don't wait for my response. That's why the girls are back there, to take care of you guys. That's why we have them back there. And they're pretty smart themselves, and they can give you some good advice, but they correlate all this for us. And don't wait. Don't wait to hear, because they might move him into one of the other practitioners, whatever. But it's enough to say is, you want your dad on this right now. When I see a lymphoma, something like that, don't wait. Get to it. Get it done. You're done. Your life is back. You got a life, and go on. And you've learned an immense amount of knowledge that will help you the rest of your life. Can't beat that. Let me see. I know that you are a very busy man. I just don't want to see him. Well, I am, but I've got 3 other practitioners in here now. And I have a whole room full of beautiful ladies that help to correlate all this with each practitioner. So don't wait. I just don't want him to see him choose chemo because he couldn't get an answer fast enough. If you want the reports on the chemo, the real studies on chemo, ask the girls, honey, to send him copies of the reports on chemo. We'll soon have them on our website once we get that done right. But it's enough to say, the website's been such a long, arduous journey just to get it to where I want it. It's not even funny. Oh, but Chris and Shannon have done a great job at helping to get it up and rolling, but it's just, it's these designers and stuff that, I don't know. She doesn't want to wait for my response. She wants to get on it right now. He's just scared about and wants to live. Well, taking chemo does not ensure life. And you have to realize that, Dad. All the studies show the opposite. Even the one at Harvard shows that if you do nothing, you live, when they say 3-4 times longer. CBS did a special on prostate cancer, found the same thing. And another study showed the sooner the diagnosis, the sooner the treatment, the sooner the death. Oh, yeah. It's not the sooner the diagnosis, we can get it then. No. That's bullshit. The studies don't show that. The studies say the sooner you detect it, the sooner you get treated, the sooner you die. It's just a mess. You can't treat, when you're at this level of intoxication, of autointoxication, of lymph stagnation, of acidosis. You can't treat that. You've treated your problems all up to this point. You're at the point where you can't treat anymore because that topples you over into death. It's time you fix things properly. To fix things properly, you have to understand what's up. And what do you do every day, at least 3-4 times a day, if not more, is you eat. What are you eating? And what kind of chemistry is it yielding you? You don't expect the medical doctors to know that. It's not their field. They're not chemists. They're not people that understand that. And the little that they do is wrong. They're dealing in theories that make no sense. So they're full of harm instead of help. You can no longer claim that they're supporting life and everything. This is serious out here. And a lot of you don't see that because you live your daily lives. You have friends and work around people. We're right in this industry. And we have thousands of people call us every week. And we hear the stories are horrendous, as some of you see. Luckily, we haven't had any real horrendous stories because it's horrible. I have told him they use homeopathic and traditional to help him heal the whole body. This is the craziest thing I have ever heard of. How do you heal the body with poison? You don't. What herbs should you suppress, though? And sometimes suppression makes symptoms disappear temporarily, and then the blowback. And the blowback is not fun. I see it every time. People come in every day to us with their blood work and their cancer markers, which were down to 1 or 2 or 3 or 0 on chemo, and now they're jumping up. It's the blowback, and it's always there at one time or another. If you don't, you're one of the very, very few lucky ones. It's not enough to have a few lucky ones that survive all this to make it worth its while. You're going to Las Vegas betting on about 3 to 5% survival rate of most chemotherapies. Some oncologists told me he had a 65% cure rate in this specific type. It's like, excuse me? And we were talking about studies. He said, well, we have our studies. Well, we've seen your studies. Our studies are non-biased studies. And when you want a study, you want a completely non-biased study because you don't want a study done by the medical community. Are you kidding me? 60 Minutes already dispersed that one by saying who pays wins. They did a whole segment on double-blind studies, and the outcome was not good for the medical community. Okay, how do you feel what herb should he get started on first? Maybe the 14-week plus the lymphatic formula. 14 is loaded with lymphatic formulas. Get on the 14-week protocol. At least do that now. And then double back with 2 more kidneys. That's already in the protocol. 2 kidneys are already in the protocols. I've made that even from the first protocol on now because you see what we're facing, guys. That seems like the way to get cleaned out. You're right, honey. You're got a good focus here, dear one. I plan on contacting you or Marcy for my T1D children. Another question, is it safe for a child of 4 to use all the herbs? No, go slow with them. It's okay to use the Fab 4 or 5. I've had kids this age on a lot of them, but I would do that in the upper circuit, brain, and nerves. So you got 4 basically of the basics, kidneys, endocrine glands or adrenals, GI tract and whatever. Then you have the upper circuit, brain, and nerve. Well, that would be helpful like that. Are there any of the formulas that I should not give him? I wouldn't give him lymphatic 5. Anything that has the blood and the poke root in them, real strong stuff. Thank you for your time. Oh, you're welcome, April. Thank you for your questions and stuff. Get your family healthy, honey. But this is just, these, are, for you younger people, your parents are going to be in trouble. And you're going to have to help them. It's funny, now the young people have got to help the older people when it should be the other way around. I'm sorry, too, by the way, guys. If I can't get to you, don't get mad. Just resubmit. And I'm going to try to clue Chris into resubmittals to where he puts them on top. So it's just hard for me to get to all of you. There's no question about it. But there's enough different symptoms here to cover you all. So by reviewing these videos, you're going to catch on someone that has the same problem you have and the focus. But if you didn't know anything about anything, and no matter what your condition is, you said, you know what, I'm just going to detoxify. I'm going to ride this ultimate regenerative detoxification. You're going to clean it and fix it anyway. That's how simple this is. That's got to hurt. When something this simple is turned into something so academic and so killing and maiming of humans as the allopathic pharmaceutical world, I don't know what to say about it. I follow your video. This is Houry. I won't even try. I follow you. Thanks, man. I follow your videos for a long time. They're appreciated, and I thank you very much. I thank you for following them. I appreciate you guys who take your time and listen to these crazy things. So I love you. Appreciate it. But if it turns you into a good healer and healing yourself, I'm very happy for that. That makes this all worth it. I am frugivore. 75% for 4 years, but I struggle to recover. Oh, I have a question about the fruit. When I eat fruit, sometimes I have discomfort that lasts several minutes. I wonder what this is. Sometimes I have discomfort that lasts several minutes. Oh, is that in the stomach or somewhere? I have the impression that it me quarterly cells, or that you saw me in two. I didn't get that. This only happens to me, not always, but when it is very annoying, and I feel bad. Do you have any explanation for others like me? Infiniman. Well, I'm probably not even pronouncing that right. If you have pain eating fruit, then you have stomach, liver, or small bowel problems. Probably, acidosis and things. Because fruit's real strong on tissue. They're astringent, the astringent fruits. The sweet fruits are just good old lovers, but you get the astringent fruits, they're a little strong on the mucosa. And if you've got some serious inflammation or acidosis in the tissue somewhere in the stomach or liver somewhere, you can get a little pain from that, a little discomfort from that. So I'd probably get on the stomach and bowel number 1, get on my kidney formulas. If you can get on the Gi Broom, do that. Start cleaning myself up a little bit. Go through a little liver gallbladder cleaning, pancreatic cleaning, or clean myself up, detoxify myself up. Keep with the fruits. See, notice what type of fruits causes that. Might avoid those kind of fruits. It might be like pineapple or some fruit that's way too acidic. Remember, fruits need to be base chemistry. If they're picked unripe, as a rule, they're acid chemistry. The alkalizing stages, the final stages, is the sweetening stages. The bitter principal stages are the acid growth stages, the nitrogen stages. So you always want good, ripe fruit. That's some of our problems that we all face. You notice that? We all face these sort of problems. And getting good fruit, the tropics are where it's at. It's where it's at in beauty. It's where it's at in the weather for humans. It's where it's at in our food. I do not know how to go about this, so to start. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis November 18th, 2004, MS. I am 41 years of age. I am now bedridden, God, unable to feed myself anymore. God. So actually you can say I am unable to do anything anymore. I once was in the military, and that might be why. You guys are shot up with more crap than I don't know, it's sad. Very sad. That's why I'm glad I didn't go overseas. Holy crap. Played college football and worked at a physical therapy fitness, so I can guess that you pumped high protein in your world for 3 to 4 years until the MS. I do not know what to do. If anything, it brought me closer to the Lord. Yeah, I get you. I take no medicines for at least 10 years. I just do not believe in them. They seem to make me worse, if anything. Yeah, there's no medicines for MS or Parkinson's. I mean, only to control spasticity. I have an uncle who also is diagnosed with MS. What can I do? What should I ask without saying anything dumb? You don't, listen, my friend. You can say anything to me. Nothing's dumb. Where should I start? How do I go about asking you where to start? You don't have to ask me, I'll tell you. I've done so much MS in my life, it's not even funny, my friend. Lou Gehrig's with it. Without acting like I am just depending upon you, you can depend on me all you want. I got broad shoulders, my friend. I was sent here to do this. So my shoulders as broad as the divine. I've got a lot of help. I do not know what things to tell you about. You don't have to. I already can tell you. That you would need to know. You don't need to, my friend. All right? I already know where your problems are. I almost forgot. I heard about you from a former patient of yours who is doing very well now. I also forgot to mention I am 5'8" to 5'9" inches tall, anywhere between 155 pounds to 160 pounds. I was told to look at that. I might deal with Lyme disease instead of MS. My name is Gary. Canton, Ohio. Would you have any interest dealing with me? You don't have to ask me that, man. Of course I'll deal with you. Why wouldn't I? You're more why I'm here than anyone else. Okay. So I don't know whether you have brain lesions or not, doesn't matter. But two particular places are involved in your case. The adrenal glands big time and the cerebellum. This is your equilibrium dizzy mobility center. It also affects your vision. So let me say this for sure. If you have MS, Lou Gehrig's, or Parkinson's, your diet has to be only fruits, berries, and melons. No veggies, no green drinks, no nothing. Remember the case I just told you of Lou Gehrig's was just like this man, except this man is still talking. This Lou Gehrig's case lost her ability to speak or sing, and her limbs were getting mutated bad. She's now walking and singing, remember? So I need you on that same diet. All neurological cases, fruits, berries, and melons only. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you got to cheat on a chocolate once in a while, okay. Now, you had a life of proteins and all that. I mean, just reading your repertoire, plus you probably had been injected out the butt. So you could have a lot of neurotoxicity. You have all kinds of toxicities in your body. So the first thing you have to, the focus, the food, easy. Fruits, berries, and melons only. Closed. End of house. Done. The herb side. Upper circ, brain and nerve. If you want to double dip, I could care less. 2 kidney formulas. Adrenal gland. If your blood pressure is low, hook it with licorice. If it's not, it will be, my friend. Because that's part of the problem is the adrenal glands and your neurotransmitters and your myelin sheaths. So let me tell you that your blood pressure is going to get low. Strap it with licorice, it'll pull it up. At the same time, I'm into my bowels, I'm into my GI tract, cleaning them up. I'm going to clean my liver, my pancreas. I'm into upper circuit, brain, and nerve, but I also want to get up here. I can do cold packs. I can have somebody work my neurolymphatics down my spine, candle my ears, open up, eliminate, expectorate, get these acids out, rebuild. And you'll be up out of that bed and you'll be having a good life, my friend. Don't lay there or sit there and take that. But you've got to get yourself disciplined. Fruits, berries, or melons, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. You're just going to go more dormant, more dormant, more dormant. No fun and not good. Might as well pow. You know, it's not a good life. So, but you can get out of that, and I'll be happy to help you. So, get on the diet. You go up, call my personal assistant, Valerie, and you tell her I told you to call her and fill her in on some cases. I need blood work. I need a bunch of stuff on you, and let's get going. Get on the diet now, okay? Gary, I love you, man, and you can do this, okay? Okay. Get yourself focused and get up, and you will get up, I promise you. This is from Peggy. Hey, Peggy. Greetings, Doc. Greetings, Peg. I watch your YouTube video quite often, and I enjoy the information that you offer. Thanks, Eddie. I need assistance in a reasonable way in detoxing. I am a breast cancer survivor, and I'm currently having problems with swollen lymphatic gland. Absolutely. That's probably because you never fix it the right way. I mean, I don't know how you fix this, but my guess is the way you're saying this, that you went allopathically. So, you never fixed your lymph system. And of course, these are all lymphatics. So, that's why you're seeing your glands still in trouble. You don't want to remove those or anything. So, what's the connection? Kidneys and adrenals. So, you want to get on there. All fruits, berries, go after this like you're going after you had it. You're going right in and you're going to get these lymph nodes filtering. You're going to get all this sewage filtering through your kidneys again. You'll pick up your nervous system and your steroids through the adrenals. Clean up your GI tract. You know, honey, go after this and fix it, because you'll pop another tumor somewhere. I'm telling you, you haven't fixed this yet. You've only did, but I'm guessing, forgive me, but I'm guessing medically, and I didn't fix it. I didn't fix anything. So now you've got to go in and fix this problem. Or like I said, these nodes will swell, and then the cells on the other side will get broken down. Remember, lymph nodes are just septic tanks where groups of cells feed their waste into. And then from the septic tanks, the bacterium and the macrophages, then everybody's heading toward the door, skin or kidneys. Or, if they're blocked, any other hole, vaginal, eyes, ears, nose, mouth, belly button will do. Nipples, you'll start leaking everywhere. You know, when the body gets full, you can imagine that, right? I've had chemo. I am not going to have it again. I mean, it's your life. Because I know how congestive heart failure, because I now have congestive heart failure because of it. So I would like to get some direction, and I could purchase the items online. Thank you. Yeah, well, it's not about purchasing things for me, my dear. All right, now, you did the chemo. So what you've done now is burnt yourself inside your body massively. So now you've got to go to the healing side of chemistry. You've got to step out of the acid doorway. You're living in the acid world. You got to move yourself into the base dominant world. That'll cool you off, energize you, heal you, get your kidneys filtering. So fruits, berries, and melons only. Maybe a salad occasionally. I mean, it's, you know, but you don't know whether you have cells broken down, other cancer cells in the body. The chemo creates cancer cells. I mean, you're using the same type of chemistry to treat as what's causing the problem. That's one of the biggest oxymorons that our society buys into I've ever seen. I'm amazed that chemists haven't stood up and said, you guys can't do that. But the chemists are silent, except for us. So I want to see you get past this. So, fruits, berries, and melons only, and get on the 14-week protocol. At least get started. If you want me to write you one, I still want you to get started. You don't want to wait for anything. I don't like waiting when you guys have had the word cancer, or you've had chemo, you have swollen lymph nodes. Waiting isn't the kind of thing I'm into. Yeah, we got some, yeah, I hope that picture didn't get lost at class. I wanted to show you some pics of people who waited. Here's one. Oh, God. That's just one. That's not a bad one either. Weighted. I got a real bad one. Oh, here it is. I'll show you this one. I've showed you this before. This is one the medical doctor said, well, we'll just watch it. Sickening. That's what acids do to you. It chews you up and fries you up like a piece of fried meat. And they have the audacity to put these drugs in us that all are acid formers. And the FDA isn't helping anybody. Anyway, you want to get this done, sweetheart. So, you're after your kidneys, you're after your adrenal glands. And remember, if your blood pressure is low, hook licorice with the adrenal formula. You can use an adrenal, if you have low blood pressure, you can use the adrenal 400 granulars for a bottle or two just to hit the kidneys and then shift off into an adrenal formula, straddle it with licorice. And that'll bring up more neurotransmitters faster. And licorice is more of an anti-inflammatory anyway. Helps control blood sugar and things like that as well. And that's all I can tell you. You're after your kidneys, you're after your lymph system, you're after your adrenal glands, you want to clean up your gut, and you got to realize this chemo got all up in your brain and everywhere else. So it wouldn't hurt you to do upper circuit brain and nerve to invigorate your neurons and clean yourself out. Get your sinuses to drain and everything else and win this. Right now, you haven't won anything. So you want to get this and win this. You can do this. You've taken the biggest part of the problem away, but you're told to treat on top of it with chemo, and I'm sure you didn't have much of a choice. These assholes, pardon my French, oncologists won't, or surgeons won't do any surgery without chemo. I don't have much good to say for people like that, because they're killers. And I just don't have much good to say about that. And I apologize for those that offend, but you don't see what we see. We see these kind of pics all day long. After a while, it doesn't become funny anymore. You know, and I've had 43 years of this. So I try to keep it light, but it's just, for spiritual people, it's just sad. That would be a very minor word, but sad. So, sweetheart, get your butt in, get yourself done, okay? This is Jason. Hey, Jason. My son's Jason. How are you? I am fine, my friend. Thank you so much for all that you do. You're quite welcome and happy to do that. You know, we got to change the human condition on the planet. Wouldn't you agree? Here's my question, one that maybe you can post and answer on YouTube for your viewers. Our earliest ancestors did eat fruit for millions of years, but they also ate insects and soft leafy greens. Wouldn't that make us omnivores? No, not really. No, it makes us opportunists and ability to have something to eat, because not in all tropical places where there are fruits and stuff. I mean, but you also found this more in those that did migrate. I was reading the take of National Geographic on paleo thinkers. And they were dismantling it, saying that paleo man did more of this, the leafy greens and the insects and the fruit that they could find. They were hunter-gatherers, but not so much hunters in terms of animal meat. You know, we're more of a vegetarian species. But just look at the design of the human being. You don't have to go into what we've had to do to survive on the planet, but go into the design of the human and that sort of thing. When you get into the proteins and things, there's nothing of an insect or an animal food that we need. We're superior beings. Not that we're better or anything like that, because we all come from the same source. No, I don't mean anything like that. But in terms of design, functionability, conscious awareness, ability to create things, well, the vertebrates on the planet, we're at the top of that. So you would think then we want to do better. There's no need to eat an insect. I see primates on islands that eat these they're like little clams that grow on the rocks, because they're trapped on this island. They whatever fruits that are in season, and then they've got to go hunting for something else. Ideally, of course, everything would be fruit for them. But if you have some tender greens and stuff, I have no problems with any of that, to be honest with you. If you want to eat bugs once in a while, who cares? But if you want to get yourself well and repair any damage or tumors in your body and get rid of them and all that, you do have to belly up to the fruitarian levels. That's all I'm saying. But if you want to have some tender greens and stuff, after you do all that, you want to be a vegan, you want to be a natural hygienist, okay. But make fruit a dominant part of your world, and you will enjoy your life considerably. And what about our brains and height? They only started getting bigger during the Paleo. Now, remember, National Geographic disagrees with that statement quite a bit, and I do too. It isn't brain size. My Chihuahua's brain is about that big, and he's much smarter than my Shih Tzu, whose brain is much bigger. It's not about brain size. That's an insult. That's a kind of man's thinking. He had protein. Man was a meat eater, and that's why his brain. So I've heard that bullshit for years, and that's just insanely stupid. But it comes from meat eaters. It comes from people that like and enjoy meat eating. And what about our? Let me see here. Where we were getting large amounts of meat. You're wrong with that. Sorry. I mean, that's what the accepted thought was, but National Geographic has went and disclaimed this and went in because they have actually examined stomach contents of paleo beings that they found. They've looked at this, and they adamantly disagree with that, and so do I, man. So no offense, but it's just enough to say that. Do this. Give me about 3 months of a detox. I want you to do this for me. I want you to give me about 3 months on fruits, berries, and melons. Have you a salad maybe once every other day or something. Clean yourself up. Now I want you to go back to a paleo with high-protein diets. And I want you to tell me how you feel. Give yourself a few months on that one. I've got people that thought that, ran to the paleo, and now running back to us like crazy. You know, some of the things that are out there, some of the propaganda that is out there, my friend, don't believe in it, Jason. It's not true. Not true at all. And I trust National Geographic over. That has nothing. Look at the brain of a silverback ape. He's more our species, and he's considered one of the 2 most powerful animals on the planet. Granted, now that they're pushing him up in the mountains there on more greens, but you can link them to orangutans. These guys can rip the biggest human there ever was apart. And the babies can do that. We have to get with this, man. We have to drop this paleo bullcrap thinking and get to the fact that we're a higher evolved species and claim that right. People that want to keep claiming caveman mentality and paleo thinking, and that's not even accurate. So, you know, when people want to be accurate, you got to get facts. And it's just the problem in our world, Jason, is there's not a lot of facts. You research online, and some of it is not true. So it's enough to say is, how come I get extreme healing on these diets that I put them on, and they're coming out of these paleo diets? Most everybody, Jason, is on a paleo diet. Take a look around. Most everybody already is. And they're coming to us with serious, serious troubles. As soon as we get off the proteins and all of that, they start getting well. So I've had 150,000 clients in 43 years, so I think I can attest pretty good to what diets can do to you. But thanks for that question, Jason. I appreciate that very much. It's not knocking. It's enough to say that. Lay that thinking down and come up to a higher level of thinking. Come up to a more divine level, and you will enjoy that better. Wallowing down in the earthly type of things is not always fun, and it doesn't always make you feel good. Of course, meat eaters like to be meat eaters, and so be a meat eater if you want to be a meat eater. But you can't get well and you can't fix your problems eating meat. If they could, medical doctors would be the practitioners that cure everybody, because they recommend high-protein diets every day of the week. Nada, my friend Jason. Melanie, can your body heal and be healthy after a complete hysterectomy, or will there forever be an imbalance in the adrenal, pituitary, ovary, thyroid connection? Smart woman. Ovary, pituitary, adrenal, pituitary, ovarian, thyroid connection. Smart woman. I like that. No, you can heal. You can heal, honey. Here's the one problem that you could face. Because there is a little spillover, ovarian estrogen, and I don't know, I'm supposing you're talking about a complete hysterectomy. Ovarian, there is a little spillover, I suppose, vaginally with ovarian estrogen, but true vaginal wall estrogen is systemic estrogen, is more adrenal estrogen. Remember, you have liver and fat cell estrogens, estrol, estradiol, these type of estrogens. So when you lose the ovaries, that's a closed house. The ovarian estrogen progesterone is for the uterus. It's not systemic. Systemic estrogen progesterone is adrenals. So here's what you could face, though. You could face vaginal dryness if you had, of course, you had to have a weak adrenal to have a hysterectomy. I can tell you right off. To have a hysterectomy, you either had endometriosis, fibroids, or excessive bleeding. All of that's hooked to the adrenals, the kidneys, the lymphatic system, and of course, just like you said, excessive bleeding can go right up to the pituitary gland. It can also, hot flashes like fit down to the thyroid gland, absolutely. But you fix this just like you make all your body healthy. You just make your body healthy and you don't worry about that. The importance of doing this now, though, is there's a couple. Scar tissue. When medical doctors go in to a tissue that's highly inflamed, and of course they're causing inflammation too because they're going to be killing lots of cells. When they cut you and go in and tear you, they kill a lot of cells. So your lymph system has to clean this surgery up. Not your blood, your lymph system. Well, your lymph system is the problem in the first place. So it has a harder time cleaning things up. So what happens, these areas remain highly acidic, and so for the body to heal these areas, real slow. So what the body does is super scar itself. It's tissue on top of tissue, just like a bone fracture. The only way to chew up that scar tissue is either one, have surgically removed, or get high on an alkaline-based diet, and that will eventually, your body will chew that scar tissue right back up. But the spillover into looking at vaginal dryness, you then would have to fix your adrenal glands, and that's when you would add black cohosh to the mix. But the biggest issue with hysterectomies can be a couple of them. First of all, if you have a weakness in the parathyroid, you only have a bladder there now, and it's possible to get more prolapsus of the bladder. I know a lot of ladies are worried about that in hysterectomies. The other thing, of course, is the scar tissue from all of this. And to avoid that is to make healthy as soon as possible, get the acids out. Surgery doesn't remove the acids. It just removes the damaged tissue from the acids. It doesn't fix the lymph system. It doesn't do anything like that. It's a carpenter. A surgeon is a carpenter going in and removing damaged tissue or lumber and replacing it or screwing it back together with plates, things like that. That's all it is. Or sewing it back together. But no lymphatic system has been fixed. Nothing has been regenerated. It's a patch job, repair job. So it's up to us to go in then and fix everything the way we should have done. But no one's there to help us. That's why I hope this site helps each and every one of you to the max. We need some sites like this to help people. There are people like us out here that want to help people. No ego involved. But yeah, your body can get very healthy. But if you have, again, if you had a pituitary weakness which created excessive bleeding or created menses problems, I would fix that too. I'd get up there, go on the endocrine gland formula, take a look at that, take a look at your height. Did you have irregular menses and stuff? See if your pituitary is involved, and then fix that. Fix the body up. And get it alkaline, that way you don't have any scar tissue. I have got to run. Well, we got through some of them. I got so many of you, but please don't get mad at me and label your questions as resubmittals. So maybe I can grab through those and we can grab those first. But your questions are good. I appreciate it. I might get passionate about some answers, not on anybody's case, of course, but we need to get above certain levels of thinking, like paleo thinking and urine therapies and MMS and putting chlorine dioxide in our bodies and crap like that. Our bodies are beautiful, sweet bodies. It loves sweet, beautiful, tender fruits that love us back. It loves berries and melons. It Likes a salad now and then, but can be very difficult on it. It loves nice things that help it, like herbs that help to inspire the function of its tissues. You've got to look at the God side of life. We've gotten so mental and negative that we've lost that. So I love you guys, and I appreciate each and every one of you for listening to these videos. I know and I hope there's good information in there for each and every one of you. I am so proud of you guys. When I see you guys rattling off pituitaries and parathyroids, and you got physicians that have had 10, 15 years that don't even know that. You guys are sweethearts. And you accept your divinities too, guys. You know, accept yourselves as beautiful souls. And you're here to work with the divine because you are the divine. So your experience is the divine's experience. So when you pull yourself into some painful and hurtful things, that's what the divine experiences. The mind's not sitting back there. It's experiencing because it moves in and becomes the experience through the individualized soul. So you're a bigger deal than you realize. And you're loved. So, to our next video, take care of yourselves. And be here now.